the level of frustration that you were going through is different to what your partner's going. But having said that, they don't necessarily know what work pressures is happening in your lane.
You have to have structure. You have to have a meeting the same as you would if it was just a business partner that you were not in any kind of other relationship with. That is an opportunity for you to understand what is going on for the other person. And you can sort of go, what's on your plate? And I'll go, what's on your plate? And then I've got an understanding of it. Then I'll know now's not a good time to raise some contentious issue or even a complicated issue.
Timing is good.
Timing is everything, right?
If you want more time, money, freedom, and have a business that's not reliant on you, then you're in the right place. Each week, Mark Creedon, along with some of the very best business minds in the world, will take you through simple, practical steps you can take to create the business you always wanted. From his own practical experience, Mark will show you how to work less, make more, and get the business you always wanted, the one that you deserve. Now here's your host, one of Australia's most sought-after business coaches, Mark Creedon.
Welcome to the latest edition, and as always, joining me in the chair is Caroline. Hey, Caroline.
Hello.
So we are going to talk about communication. This is something that you raised with me the other day about how do you make communication easier with your business partner who's also your life partner or your brother or sister or whatever relationship there may be, and how do you adjust based on different communication styles?
Carefully.
Yeah. Well, that's a good point. It's a good point.
I think mindfully is always good. You should,
Yep.
if you're in partnership with someone, I would assume that you would have a good understanding of their communication style
Yep.
before you get into that with business. And I think respecting that communication style is really important.
Yep.
And knowing the key elements of that.
Yeah, and I agree. And, we've spoken in past episodes, and particularly in our sort of Abbey Road set that we did a couple of weeks ago, we spoke about the importance of making sure that you get some balance. You're not just always talking business, right? And the business versus personal stuff. But I reckon one of the real issues is that when you're talking business, you can really miss the emotional cues in the other person.
Yeah.
Because you get dragged into the business side of things and you don't see necessarily the emotional cues that you would see in your partner if you were having a personal conversation.
Yeah. Well, sometimes if I'm tired, when I get tired, I get emotional. I don't want to have big, deep business conversations when I'm tired and emotional. But there's also times where I'm not, and they're the great creative times. They're the decision-making times.
Yep.
And also that goes the other way. When you're tired and emotional, frustrated,
Yep.
that's not a good time to be approaching business discussions or even personal discussions. That's let's go for a walk moment. Let's jog to the dogs. Let's do some fun stuff.
So I want to tap into the fact that this also affects your ability or your performance as a leader in the business. So if you're in a personal relationship, in a business relationship, and you're not picking up on the emotional cues and all you're doing is talking about business, then you can find yourself being, on a different page as leaders, and that can have a real impact on your team as well. But there's a really good example of this. So last night when we were driving home, I was kind of right up there, all right, because I had these, what I thought were cracking ideas, and I was trying to share them with you, and you were just completely non-receptive to them.
Yeah.
But I had to recognize that wasn't you saying they're shit ideas, Mark. But
No, they're actually good ideas. I think I acknowledged they had good legs, but the legs weren't walking at the moment because
No, my legs were working fine. Your legs were busted.
you were driving.
Yeah, that's right. 2 feet, mate. It's all I need. Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like, so I had to recognize that when you weren't responding, that it wasn't that you thought it was a shit idea or that you didn't take any interest in it.
No,
It's just that you were actually like at capacity.
definitely.
Emotionally, you were at capacity.
Yeah,
And so you couldn't deal with what I was talking about.
that's
Yeah.
right.
And so, and I think this is a really important communication thing, right? So, because in the past we probably would have argued over that.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have been right, clearly, but we probably would have argued over that. Whereas what we did was we sort of went, well, do you know what? Actually, I can see you're not in a good space right here, right now.
Mm.
I'm going to park that thought. Let's talk about something else.
Yeah.
I think we talked about where we're going for dinner and catching up with some good friends we haven't seen for a long time. And hey, KT, if you're listening. So
KT is secret for Kevin Turner.
Yeah, that's right. So we caught up with Kevin and Caroline. It was always great fun, and it had been too long between drinks. But we spoke about that instead. But the good part about it was that then this morning I was able to pick up that, because that good idea was eating at me all night, but we were able to pick that up this morning and go, yeah, I can see how that might work, and maybe here's some ideas of it that we could do it a little bit differently.
Yeah, brainstorm that at a good time. And I like touching back onto a comment that you mentioned before. If, when you're in a stress moment, that's business is stressful. Business is stressful with your partner at times more than it would be if it was, if you were the solopreneur.
Yep.
But making sure, and it can be very, very hard not to bring those frustrations into your team. And as a leader, I think that's very hard not to do at occasions.
No, right. And let's be honest, it's something we've failed at
Oh, totally.
at times.
Yeah.
Like honestly, we've had the shits with each other, and everybody in the office knows we've had the shits with each other. Right? And they just go, I was going to stay away from those two for a day. But the reality is we've acknowledged it, and we've acknowledged it with the team, and we've gone, look, we had a blue about whatever it was, the dog.
I can't remember what it was.
No, who cares? But, and we're sorry that we brought that into the office. And
Yeah.
the funny thing about it is that everyone just goes, oh my God, you guys are amazing because you can actually do that shit together. You can live and work. And I reckon there's lots of people listening to this podcast right now going, oh yeah, that's us. Like we spend every waking moment together. So you're bound to carry a little bit of that, muddy crap into the office with you or into the workplace with you when you get there.
I think so.
But I think the trick to it is to be honest with the team.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what? We had a bad start to the day, but let's start again.
Yeah. I've had a crappy start to the day. Let me buy everybody coffees because I was difficult this morning. I think you buy.
Is it what you do? You buy coffees when you're being difficult in the morning.
Well, no, I think you.
Oh, looking forward to a coffee tomorrow morning. That'd be quite good. All right. And does tomorrow work Friday? Yeah, and Saturday morning, Sunday morning,
Tilly.
Monday morning coffee. You probably would. So, because I think that these are factors like if you've got, because we've got business partners as well, right?
Yeah.
So let's say Brett, for example. We come in and have a bit of a party with Brett, which happens very rarely, but not a party, but you have a disagreement. Well, you can just kind of separate from each other and you don't need to worry about it and we'll just move on from it. But for people in the situation that you and I are in, where we're business partners and life partners, that's not so easy.
No, it's not. And I think where what's really needs to happen is to understand that the level of frustration that you are going through is different to what your partner's going. But having said that, they don't necessarily know what work pressures is happening in your lane.
Right.
What are you dealing with at the moment that's being a high impact task for you? And it might not be what's impacting you at work. It might actually be what's impacting you at home.
Yep.
And acknowledging that, or just going, oh, hang on a minute, before I bite their neck off or bite their head off, what is that?
Well, I think one of the things that you can do with that, and we've said this, and it was funny, we were speaking about Kevin and Caroline before, when we first started coaching Kevin many, many years ago, one of the very first things I said to him is, do you guys have a regular meeting? And he said, oh, well, kind of, on the run, we talk over breakfast. I went, no. You have to have structure. So if there's a couple listening to this podcast right now, you're in business, you have to have structure. You have to have a meeting the same as you would if it was just a business partner that you were not in any kind of other relationship with. And that is the time when you can, because that is an opportunity for you to understand what is going on for the other person. Like if we have a regular meeting every Monday morning, and you can sort of go, what's on your plate? And I'll go, what's on your plate? And then I've got an understanding of it. And if I understand that you have a bunch of stuff on your plate, then I'll know now's not a good time to raise some contentious issue or even a complicated issue.
Yeah.
Even a big decision that needs to be made. You're doing that when you got your back to the wall on other things.
No. Yeah, timing is good.
Timing is everything, right? But anybody who's listening to this is in a relationship that's a personal relationship knows that timing is everything. But I reckon we can forget that when you end up being in business together because you've got all the pressures. Like you've got team coming to you, you've got clients coming to you. Everybody wants everything now. There's all this pressure going on. You sort of go, well, hang on a second. If we weren't in a relationship, I wouldn't be going to my business partner or my boss or somebody who works for me with this if I know that they are under that pressure. And we kind of forget that when we're in a personal relationship as well.
Yeah, I think so.
Like that sort of stuff just gets chucked out the window.
Yeah. It was really fun. It was kind of fun watching. We were working with some clients the other day and they're a couple in business. And the view they had on the same topic when one was responsible for a particular task and the other was sort of like, well, no, that's not how it is. But then it was sort of, there was a look there. And I had a bit of a giggle to myself because I was like, okay, the look that you're giving is kind of not fair, but I understand why you're giving the look because it's their responsibility and, that's their gig.
Yep.
So yeah, it was fun.
Oh, I mean, we say that all the time with the clients we work with. So I think the important thing is if you're going to talk about understanding timing and understanding the different emotional levels that people are at. I mean, and honestly, if you're listening to this and you're not in a business relationship with your business partner, you're not in a personal relationship, this applies to your team as well, right?
Totally with
I mean,
you.
the last thing you want to do is go out to a team member who's just, up to their gills and suddenly throw something at them. And then you wonder why they react poorly and you go, oh, they got a rubbish attitude. That's not the case at all. So it's about that emotional intelligence and just being aware of it and being aware of where other people are at.
Yeah.
But I think that with our partners, we can sometimes forget that emotional intelligence because we're just so used to pushing through and having to communicate about whether it's about kids or grandkids or the mortgage or house renovations or, do you know what I mean? All those things that you and I have gone through in the last 12 months,
Yeah.
house renovations and sick animals and holiday planning and,
Yeah.
all those things that bring about all that pressure. And you've got to understand that people are going to be at different levels at different times.
Yeah. Don't be doing a performance review on one of your team as well when they're going through a really crappy time.
Or when you're going through a crappy time.
I do a performance review.
No, but I
So
mean,
you?
no, but if you're going through a crappy
Of
time,
course,
you're not only doing a performance review then because you're going to see through non-rosy colored glasses, whatever the opposite of rosy is. I don't know. Whatever. Yeah. Yellow colored glasses. Anyway, whatever. So the concept is that I think that you need to be super, super aware. If you're going to have business conversations in the workplace, you've got to be aware of the other person's, where they're at in their level. The other thing too is to be aware of where they're at in timing. So for me, the best time to have a conversation with me is in the morning, first thing in the morning. The worst time to have a conversation with you is first thing in the morning because you just like to, like in the mornings,
I defrost.
you like to defrost, right? You'd like to take your time. And so you kind of, kick into gear, I don't know, like 8 o'clock or 8:30 or 9 o'clock or whatever it is. Whereas I'm in gear at 7 o'clock. So what I do, if it's of help to anybody, what I do is I brain dump all that stuff that I want to talk to you about, and then I save it for our 10 o'clock meeting, and then that's when I share it with you.
Yep.
And that works so much better. Because otherwise, if I tried to talk to you about that at 7 o'clock in the morning, I'd have to repeat myself at 10.
Yep.
And I'm not being, that's not being critical. It's just, you're
I
not.
don't kick I kick in a bit earlier than 10.
No, so do you kicking about 8:30 or 9. Depends what you've done the night before, I guess. But anyway, so timing is really important. What's a challenge, Caroline? You got a challenge for our
I
listeners?
do have a challenge. I think if you're listening to this episode with your partner, great. If you're not, share it with your partner and and check in and ask them how are they really doing? How are they doing personally? And also how are they doing with the tasks and the workload that they've got on? Are they aligning? And how can you help with that pressure? Not necessarily do the task, but how can you help with that pressure?
And if you do that now, then lock that in every week. Have a regular weekly or bi-weekly meeting where you actually have those conversations.
Yeah.
Sort of things we have our clients with all the time. And it's one of the benefits of being in a mastermind group as well, I guess, because not only do you get the opportunity to get sort of collective momentum and shared wisdom by dealing with other people, like-minded people who are just like you, but just the opportunity to decompress with somebody else who is in the same boat. They may not be in the same business, they may not be in the same industry, but they're in the same situation as you because they're in business with their personal, relationship partner as well. So that's what we do in Mastermind, metropolemastermind.com.au. If you'd like to know more about what we do there. In the meantime, if you've got some topics, if you're a couple in business and you've got some topics that you'd like to hear us talk about in the podcast, please drop the comments into our socials, Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube, and we'd love to hear what your ideas are or questions that you've got that we can solve for you.
Yeah.
Caroline, until the next episode.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do you want to close it?
We'll see you next time. And can you make me a coffee, please?
Well, I was going to say, whatever you do, make sure you spend time with those who matter most. See you next time.